Yo and hello. Uh, all right, I guess I'll try to get some sleep after this. Yeah, Mark has been really active overnight, so yeah, I didn't get that much sleep. So anyway, I figured this is something that I posted something on Twitter today in the morning. I just did like pre-market like update, and so one of the things that is kind of interesting that if you look at the market is I'm looking at the 1 minute chart on SPX. Uh, kind of a background obviously with the Fed speech and everything is that the expectation that the market was expecting a 75 basis points bips rate hike, and Powell gave it to them. And more importantly, this time around, Powell is very like confident in what he's saying, um, and he's showing that he means what he's saying. And this is a different kind of Powell than that what we are used to. But some of the things that was kind of weird on the price charts was that essentially, if you look at the way the price is behaving, in fact, it's fairly bullish, but it peters out, right? Every time it hits a certain level, it peters out. So in this week, we're looking at like essentially this 37.30, 37.80 to 37.95 or so. At max it was a 37.90, well, 3790, well, 3800, whatever. Just let's just say it's 97.9, but 3800. But most of the action's been between 3780 or so and about 3790, right in between, right? And the thing is that essentially what it happens is that the market is really finding it's consolidating in that sphere, but it's in consolidating in range of the previous weeks. So if you look back, right, you see the previous weeks, I mean, it hasn't really broken out, right? So if the high is in between that range, that's not necessarily a good thing. However, the range itself, it's been at this price level for so long, you know, it's usually a good sign unless it doesn't break through after so long, and we expect it to break down, right? Now, what's funny in this situation is that we can see there's a clear like pattern that was forming on Friday, on Thursday. This is where this pattern, this like triangle pattern, and usually that's a bullish sign because essentially market hasn't been really going down since Pyle's been speaking this week. So, but what happens in a pennant sign is that a pennant, or let's say a ascending triangle type of a pattern, you don't want the price to like go all the way to like like all the way to the edge, because it tends to like lose strength, and also you don't have that many touches to the upside in the short term. So I mean that's kind of maybe a little bit more technical, but my point though is that essentially, even though it's kind of again you know uh upward bullish kind of price action, it's not really you know positively 100%, like not 100%, but positively, like with good strength. I mean, it's a bullish chart, but and this is something that got borne out with the way that the price actually broke down out of the lower support line, the lower end. And so that was kind of what you would expect if pennant pattern or a rising or triangle type pattern, if the price at the edge gets really that constricted, it will go out. It will go one with the other. But the longer it gets constricted, if it doesn't move up, it's likely to go down. It did. Now, what is the funny thing is that it didn't even stay down. It moved up again, and in fact, it moved up with quite a bit of strength. And at the end, in fact, it hit the high of the day of Wednesday, right, which is about 3,800 or so. So this is something interesting, is because now the prices, even though it had broken through to the downside away from the pennant pattern, okay, it moved up, and in fact, now there's a clear trend line or resistance line um, at the top end of the pennant pattern, and it has broken through that trend line. And again, not with a lot of conviction, is still fighting there at the end of the day. Zoom it in. But now we have something really interesting. We have the pennant pattern at the top, We also have two tops at the same time. Tops from yesterday, tops from today. Exactly the same point, 3800 or whatever this is. 30, let's 3801, 3802 spot something something, 3801 spot something something, whatever that is. It's in the same spot. I'm not a technical analysis nerd. I'm not gonna like look around under like every nook and cranny for like try to read every tea leaves. But generally speaking, we just want to look at the general price points. So what we have essentially is something that where this level is becoming like very important because it's converging from many different points. We have two, at least in the short term, it's important. This is not really in the big picture. This is nothing. But in the short term, becoming important because we have two touches, two tops like back to back at the same level. We have a pennant pattern at the top that has now become, the price has pierced that resistance line. The pennant pattern, even though it failed, it went up, and the price didn't actually stay down. Usually, if this was a failure, what would happen is that it will fail, kind of come down, and then keep on going down because this pattern has failed. But the weird thing is, it was a fake out. It was a fake out, and then faked again to the upside. It faked to the downside, then it faked to the upside. So, all in all, therefore, what that means is that even it's tepidly bullish, but again, the market is so finicky and so fickle that you have to wait for a signal for it to kind of make a move, right? And now, like in the short term, the signal now becomes this because now there's two tops here, two short-term tops, and now this since double touch, they are relevant. So you have convergence of like many different different price action happening at the same point. Thus, this makes it a important zone. And this is why also you take a look at the futures market right now. Futures market's up. It's at a 38.26 on the mini. So again, that's a good sign that it's probably going to open up, absent any stupid things happening. Because also you figure that the market taking Powell's news fairly okay, fairly I wouldn't say like really positive, but you know he's just showing a lot of people, right? Other markets in the world are following the U.S. markets and following the Fed's lead. So that it's not necessarily good news, let's say, for the equities market intermediate term, right? But in the short term, at least, this is what everyone's expecting. And so another thing you take a look at is if you look at overnight, um, although the indexes is kind of like up, tepidly again. Um, Commodities are up. The dollar index is down, which is basically the correlation. Where do you go? There you go. DXY, which is a correlation we're going to take a look at because that runs opposite the stock market. If this is going down, stock market is going up. So either way, what my point again is basically just to, it's kind of reiterate, kind of like, or kind of point at what I see, and again, kind of see on the charts and what basically based on what we see, what are the possibilities, what are the probabilities of the events that might be happening. Now, if by any chance that the market does break up, you're looking, possibly the next level is going to be 38. That was 30 at 38. Yeah, this was the next pivot high. If it does break above like 3802 or 3800 and keep on staying up and keep on moving up, it'll be 38, 38. But yeah, just as something to see. And also remember that also it's also hard to say because the thing is that if the market makes a big move, it's just Friday, right? We don't have the rest of the week for this move to play out, so makes it tougher to whether one should stay in that trend more than a week because it's even if the market goes up, it's like a trend of one day, and if it does go down, well, the market's been trending down, right? So that trend is well established. So again, it's a tricky market to trade in. Every time, best of like whatever position you make, best of like having some contingency plans, some branch plans along with it, and have some way to manage your positions, better manage, trade management steps should be taken. Like small positions, and only increase your positions as it goes in your favor, things like that, right? So anyway, yeah. Anyway, just wanted to kind of point that out, and the things that also just the last bit, this level being at least in the short term can be kind of becoming more important if it doesn't hold, if it doesn't go to the upside, right? How long will it test this area, right? The chances are, if it's not able to break through, then we might be looking at a downtrending market. Like that's a really fairly strong rejection. Um, if it does move up at the same time, short term, that's also a fairly strong, um, acceptance of the trade, right? That it's still the uptrend we should see some kind of uptrend or some kind of a strong move. That's because, well, this level is fairly strong now, right? This is converging of many different levels or multiple levels, multiple trends uh, that that's pointing to the same price area. So um, ideally, you want to see the market move up with strong strength above whatever this is, the 3802 spot, whatever. Um, and so if it does stay above that, and if it does break through with good strength also, because sometimes again this fake out happens, right? With the loose strength right at the breakout. If the keep strength at the breakout, that means it's a likelihood of that being that move sustaining itself gets higher. So yeah, I don't want to again ramble on, so I'll leave it at that. Again, this is not an advice or recommendation, you know. Yeah, so this has just been my thoughts essentially, and not your thoughts basically. And um, oh yeah, there you go. This is what I was tweeting. I was also gonna say that, kind of show that to you. This was my thought exactly what went into the pen and pattern. Uh, but yeah, so yeah, that's I'll leave it at that, and hope to see what shakes up tomorrow. It's a tricky market, but yeah, best of waiting for some kind of a trigger, or some kind of a wait for a wait for the market to tell you what's happening, rather than jumping on too fast, too early. So yeah, I guess that is it. I'll see you guys later. Again, this has been my thoughts and not your thoughts. This is strictly informational, educational, infotainment. Um, and this is not advice. I'm not telling you to make these kind of trades or anything like that at all. If you do need advice or what have you, better off going through a consultant or advisor that you can trust, who can help you out. So that's it. I hope you good luck, and have a great weekend.